Edgar Allan Poe was born in 1809 in Boston, Massachusetts. He was an American poet, short story writer, editor, and critic who was one of the most important figures of the literary genre as dark romanticism. Poe is generally considered the inventor of the detective fiction and the early practitioners of the short stories. Poe's stories delved into the realms of mystery and horrors, leading to the formation of the modern detective story. Poe's parents were actors. His father left the family early, and his mother passed away when Poe was 3. He was adopted by ALLAN's family, but he never had a good relationship with his stepfather because Poe was alcoholic and bitter, so Poe had to continue in his career until he finally got a job in a literary journal. He married with his 13-year-old cousin who died of tuberculosis. A man describes himself as an extremely nervous person, but not as an insane person. He also said something about a disease that makes his senses very sensitive. About the story, the narrator said that he loved an old man, but he hated his old man eye, his fake and blue eye, and he decided to kill the old man just to be free about it. For 7 days, the narrator went to the old man's room in silence, and he saw the horrific eye. But the last night, the old man listened that someone was in his room. The narrator drags the old man, who screamed. The beating of the old man stopped. He was already dead, so the narrator hid him under the floor. 3 police came because of the scream and asked what was happening. The narrator said it was him while he was sleeping. They entered into the old man's room, and the narrator started to listen the beat of the old man's heart. The narrator freaked out and confessed everything to the police. The story begins with the narrator affirming that he is not insane, but the scene just let the confusion in the air. The focus of the story is a perfect crime. He has an inexplicable hate to the ice old man, and he also mentions something about the heaven and hell, telling us that he is a little eccentric. The narrator's letter, his inability to act unless he sees the open eye, and his pleasing tone with the old man each morning combine to give the impression that the narrator is crazy. The story presents 2 characters. The first one is the narrator, who pretends to show his or her sanity, but it looks really confused because of the tone. He or she looks like someone who is impulsive, doesn't have guts, someone who can be very obsessed with something and apathetic. The second character is the old man, who lives with the narrator. He had a fake eye blue. There's not so much information about him.
This Edgar Allan Poe story has many of the characteristics typical of his works. It is written as a first-person confession, has a creepy mood, and a haunting ending. The narrator begins by explaining that he has always loved animals. Pluto, this large cat, was the narrator's favorite. He found himself mistreating his wife and his pets, although he refrained from hurting Pluto in any way. One night, after a great deal of drinking, The narrator found that Pluto seemed to be avoiding him, which made him angry. He took a pen knife from his pocket and plucked it out on one of Pluto's eyes. One day he put a rope around its neck and hung it from a tree just because he could and because he deserved to be deemed a sinner. Once again, the man felt some guilt over what he had done and searched to find a replacement cat. This cat also appeared to be missing one of its eyes. One day, the two of them were walking into the basement of their building, when the cat, always between his feet, caused him to trip. The narrator grabbed an axe which lay nearby and lifted it to drive it into the cat's head. By accident, he killed his wife. He found a filled chimney from which he could remove some bricks and insert the body inside. On the fourth day, a group of policemen came unexpectedly to search the house. As the men were completing their tour of the cellar and preparing to leave, the narrator, in his excitement, told them how well constructed the house was, and even hid the wall where he had buried his wife with a can. This knock caused a cry to come from within the wall, which grew into a hole. It scared the narrator, who backed away, but the police began to pull down the bricks. The rotting corpse still stood where he had left it, but upon its head sat the one-eyed cat whom he had accidentally well up to and who had half given away his secret. The narrator's wife. The brief outline the narrator provides us of his wife suggests that she is kind, giving, loyal, and even heroic at the end. The narrator says she has in high degree that humanity of feeling well. Pluto. Pluto is a fine specimen of a cat, all black, large, fuzzy, and sagacious to an astonishing degree. Sagacious is a cool word to know. It means extremely wise, intelligent, and perceptive. The second cat. The second black cat looks almost exactly like Pluto. He's big, black, and missing an eye. The only difference is the white spot. The spot starts off innocent enough, but then grows into an image. The policeman. Like the policeman in the end of the Hell they told her, these policemen are genetic characters, without defining characteristics other than the fact that they are policemen like the police. The narrator. The narrator has major issues. This unnamed character is an abusive, bully, and murderer. He made home a living hell for his wife, pets, and himself. He is writing to us from his prison cell.